So we are back getting ready to install the precision motorcycle rack for the Honda CRF250L, and the instructions are relatively simple. What it's saying is the front bolts that are right behind the seat of the Honda CRF250L, we're just going to remove these first on each side. Secondly, we're going to remove the rear bolts. Each bolt does have a kind of a spacer back there behind it, so when we remove that bolt, we are actually going to reuse that spacer. So we need to keep that in place. We're not even going to remove the entire seat, we're going to leave the seat in place. So these are the bolts that the installation instructions come with. So we've got two 60mm bolts, two 30mm bolts, 4 washers, and then 2 spacers. So when we get this on the bike, what it's going to look like is we're going to have the two 60mm bolts in the front, and then in the rear we are going to have a 30mm bolt with a spacer back here behind the rack. So that's kind of how this whole setup is going to look. So we will go ahead and start removing the rear and the front mounting posts. And what we're going to do that with is just an Allen wrench. So you can actually use the wrench that comes with the bike. So we are going to go ahead and start that process. So right now we are going to remove the bolts from each side of the motorcycle. Get that loosened up. Get this bolt loosened up. Now when you pull the bolt out of the motorcycle, there's going to be a spacer. Be sure to keep that spacer in the holes. We'll just set this to the other side. And we'll pull out the other side. Now what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and zoom in here. This is what that spacer looks like here in the Honda CRF250L. You do want to keep those in there. And then on this side, it will be the same. So that will just be right up in there. So you want to leave those in place. It is not to completely remove the seat. So what we're going to do is we are just going to lift the seat up slightly and just slide that rack right in. And I'm going to go ahead and put this spacer back in since it fell out when we removed it. So now what we're going to do is just kind of get that spacer in place, and we're going to get that seat back in place. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to hand tighten these rear bolts back in place so that the rack can slide up and or kind of move up and down. Grab this and just slightly tighten it up. Now we are going to move to the rear of the motorcycle. So I'm just going to move this up out of our way. I'm going to remove the rear points. And there's an offset spacer in there right now, so you are going to want to leave that in place. So the installation of this rack is relatively simple. The directions that come with it are good, and I don't think you'll have a problem getting this in place. So now we've got the bolts removed, and we will go ahead and grab the new bolts and the spacers. So once again, we want to make sure that we leave the spacers that were in here on the bike. And we will just grab this spacer here. And we will hand tighten the back. The nice thing is just how you do have some room to work here. And then we'll take the other spacer and we're just going to set it under here as well. Just slides in there. We'll get that bolt. There we go. We are in. And now what we'll do is we will just go ahead and tighten these all down. And that rack is installed. So this is what the rack looks like installed. Like before, we went ahead and removed the factory bolts and set them aside. What's going to go in the front is we are just going to undo the factory bolts. We're going to lift the seat up enough to let the rack slide in. We're going to leave the spacers that are back here behind it. We're going to grab the 60mm bolts that come with the Precision Motorcycle rack, and we're going to go ahead and use that washer and slide them in, hand tighten them. And then what we do is we're going to come to the back side, we're going to remove the factory bolts, and we are going to leave the spacer that is on the motorcycle already, and then add in the spacer they supply, as well as the 30mm bolt with the washer, slide it on in, and then tighten everything up. But overall, the installation process is a breeze. It's extremely simple, and Precision Motorcycle Racks sends you everything you need. Now, if you want to get a hold of the guys over there at Precision Motorcycle Racks, there's a few different ways to get a hold of them. You can check them out on YouTube at PMRacks. You can check them out at their YouTube page, but probably the best way to check them out is going to be by hitting up PMRacks.com and checking out all the items they sell. They've got racks for the Honda CRF250L, for Suzuki bikes, for Yamaha, maybe even some Triumph on there, I believe. They sell rock straps, Wolfman luggage, as well as roto packs. So thanks for watching this video. If y'all have any questions or comments, leave them below the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that thumbs up button. And once again, thank you for checking out SGFAdventures channel and checking out part 2, the installation process for the PMR rack. What's going to happen next is we are going to have a part 3, which is going to look at a roto packs on the bike, as well as some luggage and some real world use. So thanks for checking out the video, and we'll see y'all next time.